I choose him, Daddy. Those 4 simple words from 6-year-old Lily silenced the entire restaurant. No one expected the CEO's daughter to climb onto my chair and declare her approval, especially not after the humiliation I just endured. But sometimes life's most beautiful moments come when you least expect them, and from the most unexpected people. Hey everyone, if this story touches your heart like it did mine, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more stories about unexpected connections and second chances. Your support means everything. The coffee stain on my shirt wasn't planned. Neither was the glob of peanut butter my daughter Emma had smeared on my shoulder as I rushed her to school that morning. But such is life as a single dad, messy, unpredictable, and always running late. You can do this, Mark, I told myself, checking my reflection in the restaurant window. At 34, this was my first blind date since becoming a widower 3 years ago. My best friend Ryan had set it up, insisting it was time I got back out there. The restaurant was upscale, way more upscale than I was used to. Crystal chandeliers hung from high ceilings, and waiters in crisp uniforms glided between tables. I felt immediately out of place in my department store blazer and slightly wrinkled button-down. Reservation for Daniels? I asked the hostess, trying to sound confident. She glanced at my stained shirt, her smile tightening. Yes, the other party has already arrived. Follow me. As we weaved through tables of well-dressed patrons, I could feel eyes following me. The hostess led me to a table where 3 women sat, not one. My date, Jessica, was flanked by 2 friends I hadn't been told about. Mark? Jessica stood, her designer dress probably worth more than my monthly rent. She was beautiful, with perfectly styled blonde hair and flawless makeup. These are my friends, Vanessa and Claire. I hope you don't mind that they joined us. We had plans after dinner. No, of course not, I lied, shaking their hands and taking the only empty seat. The first 20 minutes were awkward but manageable. Jessica worked in marketing for a major cosmetics brand. She was smart and articulate, and under different circumstances, I might have been captivated. But her friends kept exchanging glances, whispering behind manicured hands. So, Mark, Vanessa finally addressed me directly. Jessica mentioned you're a teacher? 5th grade, I nodded. Going on 7 years now. How noble, Claire said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. And you're raising a daughter alone? Emma. She's 6. Jessica looked uncomfortable. Mark's wife passed away 3 years ago. Oh, that's so sad, Vanessa said, though her tone suggested more pity than empathy. It must be hard to date with a child. It has its challenges, I admitted. Babysitters aren't cheap, Anne. Is that peanut butter on your jacket? Claire interrupted, pointing at my shoulder. My face burned. Probably. Emma was making her own lunch this morning. The women exchanged another look. You know, Jessica said gently, there are services that can help with things like that. My assistant handles all my dry cleaning and errands. On a teacher's salary? I laughed, trying to keep things light. I'm lucky if I can splurge on name-brand cereal. Their polite smiles couldn't hide their judgment. The conversation shifted to vacation homes and spa retreats, worlds away from my life of school pickups and macaroni dinners. When I excused myself to use the restroom, I overheard their voices as I walked away. Ryan said he was charming, Jessica hissed. He's a mess, Claire replied. Single dad? Please. You need someone established, Jess. Did you see his shoes? They're scuffed. Their laughter followed me down the hallway. In the bathroom, I stared at my reflection. What was I doing here? I didn't belong in this world of perfect appearances and casual cruelty. Emma and I were doing just fine on our own. I splashed water on my face and decided to make a graceful exit. As I approached our table, I noticed a commotion at the far end of the restaurant. A distinguished-looking man in his 50s was dining with a little girl about Emma's age. She was clearly restless, fidgeting in her seat while he spoke sternly to her. "Lily, please sit still. Daddy's trying to have an important conversation." The man returned to his discussion with two other executives, ignoring the child's obvious boredom. Something in her expression reminded me of Emma, that look of a kid who just needed someone to pay attention. I sat back down at my table, preparing my excuse to leave, when a waiter approached the businessman's table with a tray of drinks. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. The little girl, Lily, reached for a breadstick, knocking into the waiter's arm. Glasses toppled, sending red wine cascading across the table and onto the businessman's expensive suit. He jumped up, cursing loudly, while Lily's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean to. This is exactly why I didn't want to bring you," he snapped. "Can't you behave for one dinner?" Without thinking, I was on my feet and walking toward them. Jessica called after me, but I barely heard her. "Hey there," I said, kneeling beside the crying child. "Accidents happen to everyone. Just this morning, my daughter got peanut butter all over my jacket." Lily looked up, tears still streaming down her face. "Really? Really? And last week, she spilled an entire box of cereal in our car. I'm still finding Cheerios under the seats." A small giggle escaped through her tears. "Mark Daniels," I said, extending my hand to the father, who looked stunned by my intervention. "I'm a fifth-grade teacher. Kids this age are still developing their motor skills. It's completely normal." "Richard Callaway," he replied stiffly. "CEO of Callaway Industries." Of course he was. I just lectured one of the city's most powerful businessmen on child development. "Daddy's mad at me," Lily whispered. "Your dad's just surprised," I explained, grabbing napkins to help clean up. "Adults get surprised sometimes, and it comes out looking like anger. But I bet he loves you very much." Richard Callaway watched me curiously as I helped Lily dab at the spill, making a game of it until she was laughing. "Do you have kids, Mr. Daniels?" he asked. "A daughter, Emma. She's 6. And her mother? It's just us. Has been for 3 years now." Something in his expression softened. "Lily's mother left when she was 2. It's challenging." "The hardest job I've ever loved," I agreed. By now, the entire restaurant was watching our exchange, including Jessica and her friends. I could feel their eyes boring into my back. "Mr. Mark," Lily said suddenly, "can you be my daddy's friend? He doesn't have many, and he needs someone to tell him not to be so grumpy all the time." Richard looked mortified, but I laughed genuinely. "I think your dad might be a bit busy for new friends, Lily." "Nonsense," Richard said, surprising me. "In fact, why don't you join us? Unless you're otherwise engaged?" He glanced toward my table. I hesitated, looking back at Jessica and her friends, who were whispering furiously. "Actually, I think I'm free." As I stood to excuse myself from my original date, Lily suddenly climbed onto my chair and looked directly at her father. "I choose him, Daddy," she declared loudly. "He makes me laugh, and he doesn't get mad about accidents." The restaurant fell silent. Jessica and her friends stared open-mouthed. Richard Callaway looked from his daughter to me, then burst into unexpected laughter. "Well, Mr. Daniels, it seems you've been officially selected. My daughter has excellent taste, even if her timing is questionable." I walked back to Jessica's table, feeling strangely confident despite my stained clothes. "I'm sorry, but I need to cut our evening short," I said. "It was nice meeting you all." Jessica looked bewildered. "You're leaving our date to sit with Richard Callaway? Do you even know who he is?" "A single dad who could use some company," I replied simply. "Just like me." The rest of the evening was surprisingly wonderful. Richard turned out to be down-to-earth once away from his business associates. We swapped stories about the challenges of raising daughters alone, from hair-braiding disasters to parent-teacher conferences. The business world is straightforward compared to figuring out how to handle a princess birthday party, Richard admitted, making Lily giggle. Daddy hired a real pony last year, she informed me. It pooped on our carpet. By dessert, Lily had moved her chair next to mine and was showing me her collection of drawings on her father's tablet. Richard watched us with a thoughtful expression. You know, Mark, I've been looking for someone to head up our new educational foundation. We're developing programs to support underfunded schools. Your perspective would be invaluable. I nearly choked on my coffee. I'm just a teacher, Mr. Calloway. Richard, please. And you're clearly more than just anything. Think about it. As we prepared to leave, I noticed Jessica and her friend still at their table, watching us intently. Richard followed my gaze. An interrupted date? He asked quietly. A blind date that was going nowhere, I admitted. I don't think I made a great impression. Richard looked at my peanut butter stained jacket and coffee-splashed shirt, then at his own wine-soaked tie. Appearances can be deceiving. The most valuable people in my life have never been the most polished. Lily tugged at my hand. Can Emma come play at our house? I have a treehouse and a swing set and 3 dollhouses. I'd like that, I said, genuinely meaning it. If it's okay with your dad. More than okay, Richard said, handing me his business card. Call my private number tomorrow. We have a lot to discuss, both professionally and, perhaps personally. As we said our goodbyes, I caught Jessica's eye across the restaurant. She looked confused, perhaps even regretful. Her friends were unusually silent. Walking to my car, I felt lighter than I had in years. I couldn't wait to tell Emma about the evening, about Lily and her father, about spilled wine and second chances. My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. How was the date? I smiled, looking at Richard's card in my hand. Life-changing, I typed back. But not in the way you'd expect. 6 months later, Emma and Lily were inseparable, having playdates every weekend. Richard's educational foundation was taking shape under my direction, allowing me to help children beyond just my classroom. And Richard and I had formed a friendship that was evolving into something neither of us had expected to find again. Sometimes the universe has a way of bringing together exactly the people who need each other most. It just might take a spilled drink, a child's honesty, and the courage to walk away from the wrong table to find your way to the right one. Life isn't about perfection, it's about finding the people who see your stains and scuffs and love you not despite them, but because they tell the story of who you really are. If you've ever felt judged or out of place, remember, sometimes the greatest connections come from our most vulnerable moments. Like this video if you believe in second chances, and subscribe for more stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Because sometimes, it takes a child to show us the way.